Welcome everybody to Traction Thursday from wonderful Fairfield, Iowa. My name is Alex Taylor. I'm the Director of Entrepreneurship for Nubo Co., which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to economic development through technical education, computer science education, K-12, and adult computer science education, and entrepreneurship. And we are here today at Traction Thursday to celebrate entrepreneurship. We're going to do things a little bit differently today for the introduction side of things. I am going to introduce today's speaker, and I am going to turn all introductions and preceding commentary to Danny Stanton. Danny Stanton hails from Urbandale, Iowa. Stanley.
Yeah.
Stanley. Did I say Stanton? Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Danny Stanton.
I'm going to go by Stanton now. I got to change my business.
All right, yeah. He hails from Urbandale, Iowa. He was one of the instrumental people to help Big Grove get founded and established in eastern Iowa and continues to expand. And he has been with Revata now for about 6 months, and he has got a lot of interesting things to talk about. So let's please give Danny a warm Traction Thursday welcome. Oh, you have a mic. You're good to go.
He's got me mic'd, but I'm still going to stand here like I have one. Yeah, so for the introduction, I've been to these for a little while, maybe 6 weeks or so. I missed last week, sorry about that, guys. But I just kind of wanted to hear what everybody was interested in getting out of either specifically this meeting, when you saw my name pop up, or previous meetings, or out of Traction Thursday in general. And I can start. Also, obviously, let's do names and, companies. I don't know what we normally do. It's something like that. Why are you here? But what are you trying to get out of Traction Thursday? Why are you spending an hour a day, a valuable hour, here? So for me, I'm new to the area, new to Mount Pleasant, but southeast Iowa. I'm part of a company, Revata, which I am taking on the business development role. So obviously it makes sense for me to get out and meet some new people, but also coming here, I've been able to meet some people who help me with my personal life. My chickens are laying great eggs right now. I don't know how I'm getting 6 a day. All my friends who have like 40 chickens are getting 2. So don't know what you're putting in there. I don't know if it's legal, but yeah, so I came here to, quote unquote network, but I just kind of wanted to get more ingrained in the community, talk to like-minded and non-like-minded people. I like to throw myself into the fire any chance I get, put myself in an uncomfortable situation, like giving a talk in front of people when you haven't done it in a while or something like that would be a good spot that I like to put myself just to see if I can handle it. But yeah, coming to Traction Thursdays, wanted to meet some people. I also wanted to just hear what people were working on. So entrepreneurs, business, all those things are something I'm very interested in. It really just kind of piques me. One big thing I'm going to talk about today is going to be how to build a strong culture in a business. Me starting with a business of 36 going to well over 300, almost 400 people. How do you not lose your soul? That's going to be a little bit of my basis here. I hope that can gain some insight for you and also spark some questions. So as an introduction, I'm going to be talking about those things, but I'm also going to be asking you guys to guide me through this. I have about 7.5 hours that I could come up here and talk about. So I honed it down to about 30 minutes or less, but I would rather have you guys guide the conversation so that you can get the most out of this as opposed to me preaching about something that I think is most important to you. I would like you to tell me what I can give to you. Because we all have something to give. So anybody you run into knows something that you do not. And I hope that I can maybe have you guys flush that out of me. What do I know that you don't? And then hopefully as we go through Traction Thursdays, I hope to learn from you guys things that I do not. So with that, do we need a microphone for introductions?
Yeah. Where do you want to go?
Greg, I'm gonna start with Greg. He's always here with a smile.
My name is Gregory Louie, and it's always great to be here on Traction Thursday because I get to know other people and other ideas and be inspired by all of you. So I'm retired, And I retired just over a year ago. So I just want to know what I want to do when I grow up. And so I come here to network, and I formerly did some Alzheimer's disease research. So I want to kind of do something in Fairfield related to build on what I've known before and hopefully give something back to the community. I am so impressed with this community, which seems to be full of healers of all sorts and have this long history of consciousness. And so as I talk, new ideas come to me about what Fairfield might be if it was a healing mecca. How would that change the economic environment here? And I'm still exploring that idea. So I come here to network.
I love it.
Thank you.
So my name's Faith Reeves. I'm the sustainability coordinator, and currently I'm working with a group of around 25 individuals, and we're working on a resiliency plan oriented around Fairfield or hyper-local Jefferson County. And we're focused in 6 areas: private land stewardship, land management, waste management, foodways, buildings and energy, and private land, or enterprise solutions and community connections. That community connections element is huge. How do we collate information and sort it, kind of prioritize, categorize resources, opportunities, events, all of these types of things, and then how do we get that information out into the community so it's easily accessible? That's something that I'm kind of struggling with. Is this a dashboard? Is it a this? We have generation gaps that make one solution not the solution. And so that's something I'm thinking about. Also really kind of headlong into the food web, the current community food resilience, the resiliency of our community food system. And so looking at, how do you make training for, regenerative or table food oriented growers accessible? How do you search for grant opportunities and funding opportunities? How do you get all of this stuff kind of pulled together for those that need it most? How do you become like the most wonderful resource center ever?
My name's Galen Satterley. I co-own Breadtopia, the Bakehouse, and the Collective. I come here to network, but I also come here to know that other people are struggling and other people are succeeding. So it's great to hear how people solve problems within the various businesses they own.
Jeff Topol, I work at John Deere. I lead a software team there, and I'm able to work remote. So 6 years ago, I moved here to build a regenerative farm. So I was amazingly able to get 150 acres, and so I'm kind of farming for fun and for learning right now. And I come here, well, and I should say after 6 years, this is the first year where I kind of feel like I'm not new in town. And I think like that has something to do with coming here to Traction Thursdays and having a community that people that I know. And so, because, otherwise you've got people who've always been in town, and it's kind of hard, even though it's really friendly. Like I've got a lot of neighbors who I have conversations with, and people are friendly here. But it's nice to have a community, and that's this to me.
Yeah, here. Kevin Riley, I'm a designer. I've also designed the world's best wooden spatula, I think.
I think so. I agree.
Prove me wrong. And other culinary accessories.
Where can I get one of these?
Yeah.
I got a birthday coming up for my wife.
Yeah. I get inspired by all of you. I'm really interested in how people's individual passions have woven into the things that they're doing and how they distinguish, their roles in those jobs or whatever they're doing. So yeah, I'm interested in everyone's kind of personal journey and how it's integrated into what they do.
I love that.
Hey there, Paul Stockstead, Duckbite, Web Marketing. I think I do this mainly because I have a wife and a cat, and otherwise it's just a computer. So seeing actual humans is a great treat for me. I do have a partner in California, but I don't think that counts. I do meet a lot of tennis players, but it's nice to meet some people doing business.
You're not talking about Bob, right?
Which Bob are we talking about?
Nope, never mind. He's not a real tennis player yet.
Well, he'll get there.
Okay.
No, he has a completely different coach.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Jordi Quevedo-Valls. I own the Pear Group, which is currently a bookkeeping and tax firm for small businesses in Iowa. I'm also in the process of acquiring an accounting firm, so definitely excited to see you talk about culture, especially with new transition to ownership. And I'm working on a startup as well, which will be an online marketplace for buying and selling businesses, acquisitions.
Great. Well, I'm Bob Ferguson. I'm one of the organizers of this meeting, and I'm here because I love to create community. My mother was a master at that. I just watched what she did, and I basically just do what my mother did in various ways. This started out as ostensibly to support the Southeast Iowa Food Web, and it's doing that, but it has become so much more. And I'm here just because I love this community. I appreciate everyone coming week after week. I appreciate being able to be an enabler of this kind of connection. So among the many reasons I'm here, those I think are probably some good ones. And it looks like we've lost both people online, so over to you, Jason.
My name is Jason Strong. I'm the director of the Fairfield Media Center, Fairfield Public Access TV channel, as well as I do own my own business called Strong Studios, in which I do all sorts of video work there, graphic work, and things like that as well. Mainly covering like weddings, funerals, dance recitals, graduation stuff, things like that. But yeah, I've been doing all of this for approximately 15 years now. So.
All right.
Let's get Jason around. Really appreciate the work you do, Jason.
Hey, my name is Nicholas Riley. I just moved here from Asheville following the hurricane. I had a small agroforestry business and regenerative farm in western North Carolina, and I came to Fairfield to kind of start over. This is where everything led me. And I was invited to this meeting by Marla and Faith, so I wanted to just hang out.
Yeah, welcome.
Welcome to Fairfield, Iowa.
Hi, I'm Bill Hickey, and I introduce myself as a human being, and I still am, but maybe I'll go a little further. I started with a degree in engineering and a Master of Science in Management, and then started a company, the Tech Group, back in the 70s, and had owned companies in Italy, in London, and then trade agreements with Royal Dutch Shell and Japanese companies, Kanematsu Goshu, throughout the Orient. And it did very well. And I sold it, and then I chased Maharishi around the world for a while. And then I taught at MIU in the 80s as a senior faculty member. And then I've done a number of businesses here and consulted, I don't know, up to 300 companies or something. I retired quite a while ago. But I found there are some common things about business that are really powerful, but a lot of people don't get the subtlety of it. And I'd say the one thing is, in business, it's not profit. Actually, it's love. Well, that's a long story. But it's profit and surplus. And this is the byproduct of fulfilling activity. And what you have to go for is a filling activity. And this is such an information-rich environment here today with everybody here. I can't stay away.
Hi, I'm Richard Atkinson. I'm a former student of Bill's. I'm an entrepreneur performance coach, and I'm writing a book about empowering entrepreneurs. So I'm very fascinated with all aspects of entrepreneurship, particularly in terms of the inner game and how the mindset and the somatic awareness can really improve performance.
Wonderful. Thank you all for that. Yeah, again, I'm going to have this as more of an open conversation. I am going to be talking, but I really, really want you guys to interject when I'm talking about something that maybe sparks, or you have a question on, or you want me to dive a little bit deeper. Or I can just sit out here and just like kind of preach and you guys can keep your heads down. But if you want to get something out of this, then it's going to come from a few questions on how these things came about, how I came to some decisions, why I think this is important. And if I start diving too deep, Jason's going to go like this and say, get on with it. If anybody's seen Monty Python, get on with it. So yeah, I'll just give just a brief background. Why the heck should I even listen to this guy? Why is he up here, standing here? Do any of his words actually matter? To me, 100%, they're freaking awesome. Everything I tell you is golden. But to you, you should make your own decisions. So I have like 15 years plus in hospitality, which led into me becoming an entrepreneur and learning about the business. It all started with passion. I won't go too deeply into like exactly how everything started, but I will just say that being around human beings and finding their passion and making people smile just filled me up. And I didn't know how to do it as a career path, so I just did it all the time. So I was going to school at the University of Iowa for business management, and I got my first like kind of real restaurant job where I started managing a restaurant. So I was getting paid to learn business management, and I freaking loved it. I was working like 70 hours a week, and I just wanted to work more. Like, loved going into work every day. So I was not able to go to school, so that was just out the door. I'm like, I can either pay to learn how to do this, or I can get paid to learn to do it and actually enjoy doing it. And it also helps that I was a below average student who did not like going to school at all. I dreaded it every single day. And I had my own school that I went to that paid me, and I loved going into it every day. That mindset shift changes everything. So I was learning a lot more. Once I kind of made that decision that I was going to go that direction, a lot of this is going to be hospitality based, just so you guys know. That's just like my realm. But I also can talk to you guys a lot about how we developed that into the business and how we were able to grow a business very effectively by not losing our soul, in a sense. That was my main goal. So around 2013, I got a call to come and help start Big Grove Brewery. And so I came in there as the general manager to come in, and I just wanted, my whole thought was, I'm just gonna build culture. I'm just gonna make it a fun place to work. Everybody was incredibly stressed out. I came about 6 weeks after it opened, and I just wanted everybody to be smiling. So then I came in with somewhat of a goofy attitude, not a normal, strict regiment, but I just wanted to bring out people's personalities and their passion. I found very early on that if I can get my people to be authentic and genuine, and they have the right target, then they might not go on the path that I would go on, but they will go to the right target through their own path. And if I can if I can understand the reason that they took that path, then that's an opportunity for me to teach more people how to get to the same target by not taking the same path, if that makes sense. So early on, I was trying to make everybody happy. That was a big downfall for probably my first 4 years. My wife is still my wife, but those first 4 years, she wasn't regretting her decision, but she was second guessing, like, what the heck is this guy doing? He just wants to work, and I'm trying to build a family and all that stuff. So, it was tough for the first 4 years, but one thing that I will go into will be like the EOS Entrepreneurial Operating System that we ended up instituting in Big Grove while I was there, which was a big thing for me, but I was also very skeptical of it because I didn't want us to ever lose our soul and our passion. Let me jump into, we kind of talked about it a little bit. I think you may have just alluded to it. It's not about chasing the money. A lot of people are just chasing the profit. The one thing that I will stand by till my grave is that if you can find somebody's passion, the profit will come. And if you put the right person in the right seat and they're going after what they really want to, you're going to start to see things happening in a very great rate. You're going to start seeing people who, less turnover. You're going to start seeing people who are really excited about their job, the people who want to come into their job. You guys know that feeling when you wake up in the morning and you would do absolutely anything not to go to work? I mean, has anybody had those jobs? Because I know I have. I've called in sick when I wasn't sick, and I was just like, I would do anything to get out of this today. One of my goals was to create a space where no one ever felt that way. My goal was also, if anyone felt that way in my space, I would not let them come into work again, which is not always the easiest thing to do, but I knew it was best for them. You don't like this job, you're doing it for the money, and I know that if I let you go, you're going to find something, and I'm going to tell you that you should find something that you care about more because you don't like being here. This is not good for your health. This is not good for your soul. This is not good for your path forward. So that's caring a little bit more about the human being in these things. But when you start doing those things, that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit more, is that spreads out to the culture around you. When people see that you do that, it shows that you care about not only this business, the dollar sign, it shows that you care about the people around you. And when you care about the people around you, that just kind of spreads. One of the things that I've run into is when you are growing and you're growing fast, you have more people coming on, you have somebody who has big visions, which I worked with a gentleman who had very big visions, and I had to hone that back a little bit. I had to be the buffer, but you get a lot of knowledge bias. Why isn't this person doing this? Don't they understand that this is exactly how it's supposed to be? You get that from a manager or a CEO or something like that. What happens when you have that knowledge bias is a few different things. One of the things would be they're blinded by this is the right way, this is the only way. So they're not open to other opportunities. Then they're frustrated because everyone's not following those same ways. And the biggest thing that happens with that is that the employee is now shut down. They are not thinking of new opportunities, new ways to do things. They're stuck in this, how do I make this person happy? I'm not doing things the way that I want to do them, but I want to keep my job, so I'll just do this. We're working on not wanting to be in this job. We're working on that time where you wake up in bed and like, I don't want to go in there. I know that guy's there. He's going to want me to do something I don't want to do. Shatter those things. Get that shit, get those things completely out. I often said, I used the F word, don't mess with my culture. If you mess with my culture, you're out of here. That's it. There are many people that you'll have in your, I'm going to go on rants. If you guys have questions, please pop them up. Don't mess with my culture. There are a lot of different people. One of the things that I learned, one of the biggest things that I learned was there are like rock stars and there are viruses and there's other dynamics to that. I'm not going to go too deep into it unless you guys want me to, but there are people who completely follow your values. Richard, we were talking about values. We would staple our values up on the walls. We'd tell everyone this is how we make our decisions. And our rock stars had all of our values and they were really good at their job. They helped everybody around them. They created our culture. They made our culture stronger. They brought in more revenue. They brought in more people. They brought in more customers. They brought in more people to work there that also had those values. And the viruses are about the worst thing in the world that you can have, because what a virus would have is they are incredibly good at their job. And oftentimes, customers love them. But they don't have your values. So they're messing, with an F word, up your culture. So you have high turnover. You have a lot of people who don't believe the person who's telling them. Can you hear that? They don't believe the person who's telling them that these are our values and this is how we run our company, this is what we do. Because you're letting this person here. Why are you letting this person be here? Well, they're just such a high performer. They're bringing in so much money. All of the customers love them. How could we get rid of them? That's
define your culture in that context.
Yeah. Culture, I would go towards, you would want to have like your core values. And if you're following your core values and you have a target, so then I would say you need a clear vision, you need clear goals, and you need a clear target.
So was this something that you sat down, you came in as the GM, you have an owner or a partnership, you know, was Big Grove a franchise at that point? Was it
Nope,
number
one,
So
yeah.
you have a set of owners, partners, I assume, and then you're hired as the GM. Out of the three of you, is it just the three of you that are?
There were three founders, and then myself and another guy became partners.
Okay, so you've got five of you, you sit down for strategic planning and determine like, this is our mission, vision, values, target.
See, there we go. I wish we would have done that. We did it about 5 years later. But that's also when we doubled in size and then tripled and quadrupled.
So you're trying to maintain a culture that you think needs to...
I'm not repeating the question, I'm sorry.
Sorry, you're trying to maintain a culture. You're trying to create a culture and maintain a culture that your partners, the other four individuals that you're, you know, that are your bosses. Like, how do you turn to your bosses and say, don't mess with my culture? You know, how did you do that?
Oh, great. So that's actually when we implemented the Entrepreneurial Operating System. I'm just going to call it EOS. It's so much easier to say. That's when you had to make a clear vision. You had to pull yourself aside. In that system, they would call it working on the business instead of in the business. You pull yourself aside and you all agree on what your goals are. So we started with a 10-year, 3-year, and 1-year goal. And then we also started with our core values and our vision. And we all agreed on that. We didn't just put it on paper and say we all agree. We took weeks and weeks and weeks, and then we refined it. And we took weeks and weeks, and then we refined it. And then we said, these are how we're going to operate so that we can all be on the same page and we're all aiming for the same target. Again, is my path to getting to that target? I'd say the two opposites are me and Chef Ben. We were two partners. He's a chef. I am squishy as F. I love the feelings. I love talking to people, and I went. So he got to the target like this, and I went like this, and our other partners went somewhere in the middle. But we all got to the same target. But that's why I was up front and he was in the kitchen. But you had to come up with a vision. You had to all agree on it, and then you had to live and die by it. But it can change.
You grew the business really fast. Well, didn't quite catch what that.
Sorry. What's that?
The basis of what caused your business to grow really rapidly.
The basis in it.
Yeah, the basis of the business growing really quickly would be our beer took off. It was a brewery and a restaurant. Our beer really took off, and that was what kind of instigated, hey, are we going to just build a production facility, or are we going to do a restaurant as well? And most of us came from the hospitality restaurant side. So we said, if we're going to build a production facility, we're putting a gosh darn restaurant in there as well, because we know that we're good at that. And then for the first 3 years, our restaurant basically paid for our production facility.
Could you give it? Could you give us an example of where your viral person was in conflict with the values?
Oh, 100%. I won't use any names. We had somebody that was started with us pretty early on, and we were in Solon, and this person knew the town really well. So a lot of people knew this person. A lot of people were used to seeing them there. Was great with tables. It was a server. Was great with tables, but constantly complaining about other coworkers, constantly only doing exactly what they needed to do, and not helping out with anybody who was struggling, asking us to get rid of people who weren't up to snuff, as opposed to trying to help them along the way. And that is a direct conflict with our values, helping other people out, just being a team player in general. And that person stuck around for way too long. Does that answer the question? Yeah, that would, yeah. Didn't want to get too personal, but basically they led to us losing many good employees. They led to us changing some of our systems to be better for one person as opposed to the whole.
So since I don't have a business background, I might have a naive question here.
Yeah.
Where would you, how would you define target, and where would that fit in that one-page business plan that many people start with the value proposition and then you have different things? Where would you put the target? What is a target and where would you put it?
Yeah, so I'm squishy, but I think that everybody who walks into the door should have a quote-unquote number or a target. So with a company as big as the one that I had, my servers needed a target of everyone that leaves here needs a smile on their face. As a business, we had a couple of different targets, but it kind of depended on your partner or on your where you were at in the company. So with this company, we were a brewery, we were a sales team, we were a restaurant, we were a bakery, we were a lot of different things. So to give everyone one target was basically to enrich the lives of the people around us. So that was our target, but based on that, we had a lot of different little targets for each piece of the business, if that helps a little bit.
It does.
So like the whole target was, so if I was a server, and I would say, hey, does this help the people around you? Does this enrich the lives of the people around you by grabbing them an extra side of fries? Would this make them smile? Does this help with that? Yes. For the baker, would this, if your coworker was hungry, would you bake them a loaf of bread and send that home with them? Yes. Does that enrich? Yes. That's a target. But do we have other, I mean, that's like a company target as opposed to, we have our profits, we have our goals, our revenue goals and things like that, but they all go to our overall target, which is to create a better community.
Okay.
It's interesting that when I think it was Tim Ferriss was asking the Navy SEALs, who makes it a Navy SEAL? And they said, not the superstars, and the macho men. It was the team players who take care of the other men.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's the guys who pick up the guy when he's down. Yep.
Got another question over here.
That's good.
Hi, yes, thank you. So with this acquisition I'm doing now, my plan is definitely to give raises to all the employees because of their specializations.
Why are you giving them raises?
Just based on market research, I think they are underpaid and they're very, very difficult to find. So my main priority is to make sure they're happy and they don't go anywhere.
How are you going to give them their raises?
Well, that's what I wanted to ask. Obviously, it would be correlated to an increase in revenue.
Oh, not the number you're going to give them. How are you physically going to give them their raises? Are you going to send them an email?
No, I would have a meeting about it first.
I'm just curious, yeah.
Yeah, I would have a meeting about it first in person. But I think I'm struggling with the structure I want to do. Like, I'm thinking instead of increasing their salary, have a commission structure based on goals and performance, so then it doesn't really hurt me as an employer in the long run in case we do a bad year. So, yeah.
Without going into deep details, yes to goals and doing compensation based on hitting targets.
Okay.
For a sales team is 100%. How you want to define that, I don't know your industry specifically, but you need to have that fire. You're going to see your rock stars come out of that, and also what you're going to be able to do is those people that are high performers, you're going to be able to see their trends, and you're going to be able to teach the other people, what is this person doing that this one is not? But if you give everybody the same rate, everyone's probably going to perform. I mean, that's just statistically proven. Everyone's going to do just enough to get by. You tell them, hey, I need 50 sales calls a week or 50 clients landed, everyone will hit their 50. But if you say, I'm going to give you an extra $50,000 a year to get this, you're going to have somebody go to 170 in a week, and you're going to be like, what the heck is going on? How come that guy can get this and this guy can't? That's going to help you lead your company to show, here's the trends that he's doing. He might become your director of sales that shows other people. And then all of a sudden you have 5 people doing that same kind of thing. I don't know if that helps. But
yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Thank you.
That would be the direction I'd start with, but also just be cautious when you're doing that, because those high performers are oftentimes, that's the perfect spot for them. If you put them into a management role, that doesn't mean that they're going to succeed at managing others. And also it doesn't mean that they're going to be happier even if you're paying them more. They won't be as fulfilled. Like if they're just rocking that and they want to be there, it might be worth it just to pay them more to be in that role than to teach others. So you really have to define those things.
Danny, you've touched on this, but I'd ask, how do you treat everyone the same by treating them differently? In other words, how do you help people, how do you help everyone maximize their potential by, in a sense, being, as you said, aware of what their strengths are, where they fit, all that? How do you, what are the mechanics of how do you do that? How do you see and perceive and do that?
Yeah, I get cautious on putting too many systems in place, but you need systems in place. You need to be doing check-ins with every single one of your employees at least once a quarter. It doesn't mean that you're doing pay reviews or anything like that, but you do need to check in with them to let them know how they're doing, if they're striving towards their goals and what they hope to be doing at the company that they're at, and how you can help them. So if they're just sitting there just being a cog in the wheel, nobody notices me, I'll just come in and do this. But I encourage everyone, when you do bring somebody on, that you should know what their goals are in their future. What are your goals with our company? What are your goals in your personal life? How can I help you get there? It adds a personal touch right from the beginning, but then you can't forget about those things. You have your notes, and then you should be following up with them. There might be someone you can connect them with. There might be ways you can help them, and sometimes those ways are, you're clearly not fit for this position. Here's another position at the company, or I know somebody who's hiring for this somewhere else, or I can't have you here. Does that help? Yeah. It catches it a little bit. There's a lot more to it, but yeah.
What are some of the key characteristics for that team leader or manager or teacher?
It kind of depends on the team you're leading. I would say that they definitely need to be somewhat self-accountable so that they'll take care of those, all the things that are put in front of them.
Empathy.
Empathetic it always falls in there. You have to have an understanding of what people are actually saying. Not the words that they're saying, but what they're actually saying. Being able to hold a conversation, ask questions. Yeah. And then I would lean strongly into where your values land. So if you are with your leadership team, you need to find out what those values are, because your rock stars and the people that you want in leadership positions are gonna hit your values through and through. And if they don't, when you do check in with them, you'll let them know, hey, here's a value that, like, you know, I feel like you have to be candid with everybody, but here's where I think you could improve. And if you see somebody step up and just start knocking that out, that was probably be a very key indicator.
You ever heard of Kaizen? You know Kaizen?
It sounds familiar. Is it Japanese?
No, it's actually American.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to remember the name of the guy. The guy from the U.S. Did an efficiency thing, and what he did was create quality groups within a company. And after the war, World War II, he went to Japan and taught this, and they used the term from Kaizen. And so that Kaizen became a big thing in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really an American concept. Unfortunately, I can't remember the guy's name.
Edward Deming.
Yeah, Ed Deming, yeah. So
I wasn't totally off on the Japanese thing.
Deming brought this to Japan, and they just said, okay, this is how it's done in America. They just decided, even though it wasn't as big in America as Deming would like. So quality circles, where people within a work group will actually come up with ideas for the work, because they're actually the people on the street doing it or in the line.
Yep.
And so, it's very non-U.S. U.S. is very top-down, management top-down, and the founder. Sometimes there's even a thing called the problem of the founder.
Yep.
And the founder, has this brilliant idea, and they want to implement it, do it a certain way, and they're usually, for example, I know a large organization, of which many of you are familiar, that has a known genius at the top. Okay, and the problem with a genius, sometimes they think they're the genius at everything. And so, for example, this genius president was trying to tell us how to do line breaks in brochures. And so you're like 3 levels down, and the genius is trying to run the whole organization with their genius. Mm-hmm. But the problem, to me, a good manager hires good people and lets them do what they're good at.
Yep.
Hires people that are actually better than them in what they're doing.
100%.
So there's a wonderful term also called consultative management, where you ask people this question, which I think is really central: what do you need to do your job? Mm-hmm. And some people don't get that question. What do you need to do your job? And if your boss asked you that question, for some people, they would just giggle all day because they don't get that question. Mm-hmm. They get this is how to do your job.
Yep.
And what you need to do your job, that allows them to put energy in. Of course, back to the Kaizen, that's whole groups putting energy in and creating quality circles. So anyway, it's more bottom up. And you need both, top down and bottom up, because the top has the overvision.
Yep.
But the bottom are those are people who are actually doing the stuff. For me, when I go into a company, to be honest, I talk to the women. Mm-hmm. Because let's face it, these men are making a lot of plans, but the women are doing a lot of the actual work. Mm-hmm. So when I was doing sales, I would never go after the boss. I'd talk to the secretary, because that's the person who controls the boss, does the work, and controls her schedule. And so, it's a matter of knowing, everyone at every level has something to contribute, if you let them.
And that's, when I would do onboarding, we did our onboarding with HR, and then I would do soul days with Danny once a month at each of our locations. So what I would do with that would be, it caught everybody. It was just this curveball that nobody knew what the hell I was doing. But I just brought everybody in, and I would just ask them, what are your hopes and dreams? I would explain them our overall vision, our core values. What are your hopes and dreams? What skill set are you going to bring to the island? So the deserted island that we just crashed a boat on, so we don't eat you first. And then just get people to kind of crack open a little bit. And then I could tell you a little bit about that day or how I would get people to this. But in essence, what I would end up doing was opening people up to giving me feedback. I would ask them if they needed help until it was weird. And all sides, down to the dishwasher, down to the person who mopped our floors in the morning. And then I would also host roundtables. And I would say, if you had $5,000 to spend on the company, where would you spend it? If you, what is one thing that you absolutely hate when you come into work that you would like to see changed? What is something that we're doing really well that you've never seen in any other job experience you've had? So then I would take those things. One thing was, oh my gosh, the thing that killed me the most when I first started doing it, because we were just opening up our very large facility in Iowa City, and I was there just 8 a.m. until 3 a.m. for 6 weeks straight. And then someone was like, yeah, that cash register behind the window, every time I open it, it kind of pops open and the cash register just kind of pops off. Like the shelf wasn't quite big enough. I was like, how long has this been happening? She's like, since we opened it, I just hate it. Every time I open it, I have to do this. I'm like, just like immediately just like unscrewed the whole thing, put in a new board. She's like, my life is so much better. I was like, that was such an easy fix. I wish I was doing this. But it's exactly that. But if you can create the culture where people are able to say those things, and after you start doing some of those things, so as you're acquiring new companies and things like that, I would recommend shattering old cultures. Not only just implementing your new one, but just going to the extreme level of going way over the top with it so that they know that you're for real. But with that, one thing I had written down was we have like 30 front of the house employees on a shift in the evening with this. So I could have 30 people out there just kind of doing their job, or I could have 30 people with different mindsets, with different ways to solve problems, going out and coming back at the end of the shift saying, oh, you know what we could do different? And after creating that culture, I had all of these people doing all these things that they do constantly. Oh, we need this new bus card. Oh, if we just moved the trash cans, simple things, from here to over here, it would be so much better. Oh, if we had one more person to handle this. Oh, if we just had a little tasting station out front for people who are waiting, we'd sell 100 more beers. You know, I was like, let's do it. Let's do those things. But you have to give people a voice. But you also have to create vulnerability. You have to create safety. And then they have to be comfortable saying those things back to you. And that's where it takes a constant practice of doing that. But you have to love doing it. And I love doing that. Like the first hour of my day, every single day, was walking around talking to people. Last hour of my day was walking around talking to people. That was it.
You've answered my question
Okay.
already.
Okay, we have time for 2 more questions. We'll start with Kevin.
So are you living your dream job right now? If not, what would it be? What is your dream job or client, or what do you want to be doing?
I really like building culture and business. So at Revata, I could probably take a couple of years off if I so choose. My family moved down here. We got some acres, and we really wanted to focus on our homestead, and I wanted more family time. Running a business or running a restaurant, we had a bakery and a brewery, so we were open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There was always something to do. So I was excited to step away from that. I still miss a lot of the people parts of that. So I'm trying to integrate how I can get a little bit more into hanging around people a little bit more, but also growing business. So right now I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing. Revata, I took the job with those guys. I could just see the passion in their eyes. I'm like, you know, I got a couple other offers out here. I'm not really sure what I want to do, but they're like, you know, I can work 5 days a week, choose my own hours, do all the things that I want to do, and help you guys grow your business. And I can tell you guys really care and you're really passionate about what you do. So for now, this is where I'm at, but I don't know. I'm gonna be probably doing some business consulting, and I don't know. Maybe in my retirement, I'll open up like a little restaurant or something very small that has no chance of growing.
One last question.
Yeah, when it comes to remote work, hybrid work, what have you discovered? I'm assuming you've tried those different type of work environments. What have you discovered of what works and what doesn't work? At least for the employees that could possibly work remote the whole time. I know, culinary, obviously you need people to cook in person.
No, we have plenty of remote work. There's accountability. So this is where it comes from the top a little bit, but you need accountability. A scorecard is a very recommended thing to have. A scorecard just being a week-to-week basis of where the performance is happening. And if you have that week-to-week basis, you can catch things before they become issues. You don't have to wait till the monthly P&L. 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off, all of a sudden you're like, hey, something's trending the wrong way. We need to figure something out. So if you have somebody that's remote working, they need to have very specific goals, held accountable. You'll have plenty of people that are going to be rock stars at it, but there's going to be plenty of people that can very easily get distracted, especially in their own homes. But if they're doing everything that you're asking them to do, then they're doing everything you're asking them to do. So if it takes them 10 hours a week and they're completing their tasks, That's what you asked them to do. That's what you're paying them to do. So if they can do more, you need to make that adjustment. So you need to say, when I hire you, I expect more. Because I think some of our, I think that people aren't producing quite as much from their remote jobs as they could be or they should be. So you have to hold them accountable. But all you can do is hold them accountable. So you need more metrics probably, but this is how many clients I need. This is how many whatever I need. But also don't get mad at them if they're taking Friday off because they hit their goals.
Excellent, excellent presentation. Let's give Danny Stanley a round for his great information, great insight, and everything here. That would be a wrap from Fairfield, Iowa, and Traction Thursday. We'll see you all next week.